we welcome in John Wertheim for the first time on this Tuesday. John, good to see you. We've got a couple of news and notes items to catch up on, starting with a little video from Mallorca as Rafa Nadal had his first training session at his academy there as things start to reopen in Spain. And Jim, it sort of underscores the very different approaches that Rafa and Roger seem to have taken to the stoppage that we're in.
Yeah, I mean, Rafa, very excited to get back onto the court at his academy. Very excited that the kids that train at his academy will also be able to do that. He was very pointed when he put the video out that everyone, not just him, was going to be in it. I think it's Carlos Moya across the net hitting balls with him. But Nadal is a guy who thrives on repetition, thrives on practice. You knew he would be quick to get back out there as soon as it was possible. And Federer is a guy who's quite happy, it seems, just to do the physical work off the court and wait for a little bit more guidance as to when he needs to be ready, and then he'll ramp it up is my best guess.
Yeah, I think for all the players, that once it's safe and once wherever they are, they're given the green light to go out and practice. This is what they've done their whole lives. This is all that they want to do, is get back to some sense of their normal. And for Rafa, that would be back to hitting balls at his academy. You got a little bit of a break. Interesting to hear. I think that Novak was the one saying that he heard Roger was injured and not able to practice anyway. So that's another potential storyline there. But I think it's great to see these players post their videos back on the court. Their sport, their livelihood was taken away. It's great that they're starting their re-entry.
That looked an awful lot like a hard court and not a clay court, but it's nice to see Nadal out there. He was sort of uncharacteristically, I thought. He was very sort of candid during this whole period, saying, look, there are things more important than tennis. Motivation is going to be hard to come by. I was in touch with the camp over the weekend, and it's been very much a wait-and-see approach. I mean, I've been interested to see the different response among players. Athletes in other sports, NBA players, they are hell-bent on getting back on the court. Rafa, Roger, we have not seen that from them. Novak, a little bit more enthusiasm, but great to see Nadal out there. And I think everyone is sort of taking this very slowly, though. A lot different in an individual sport crossing oceans than playing, and again, I'll use that NBA comparison, a much different scenario for tennis players, guys.
Well, to your point about the Djokovic enthusiasm, John, he's been so enthusiastic that not only has he been training on a private court throughout this entire hiatus, he is now, as we mentioned a little bit earlier in the show, planning a whole tour of events in the Baltics, not far from where he's from. Give us some details that you know about those events.
He has put that together. Apparently the roster is still in flux. Marin Cilic was just added today. It seems like some players are going to be there for a few matches, others for the whole tour. Roger Federer, he says, will not be making it. Remember, Rafa, Roger, and Novak have been in more or less constant contact over these last few months, mostly on ATP business. But no, again, I'm really struck. This is a very different approach from Novak Djokovic than it is from Roger Federer and Rafa Nadal, who have been a lot more measured in their eagerness to come back.
Now, here's some of what Novak had to say about the communication between him and the other two members of the Big Three. And he referred to the knee injury, Jim, that Roger has been recovering from. And Roger was very frank and said that he hasn't really been interested in hitting too many tennis balls until he has a target to aim at.
Yeah, I think Roger's waiting for wherever that green light is going to come and trying to back in the preparation. He will need to be ready. Rafa is starting his re-entry, as Lindsay puts it. John, maybe you know this. I didn't catch all the details on this Baltic tour. Are they doing this for charity? I don't understand entirely what the concept is yet of how they're going to play the matches and all of that. But do you know more details on that, or is that still pretty vague at the moment?
As I understand it, there is a philanthropic arm to this. I do think other players will be getting paid. It looks like it will be in more than one country. It's going to be interesting, though, to see, A, which players end up competing the whole time, and B, what the status is going to be of fans. And we've seen some tennis events already say that they will be accommodating fans. I have not seen anything about this Novak event.
All right, moving on to some tennis that's going to be taking place here in the States over the summer. Good news for World Team Tennis fans, Lindsay. They won't be playing their home and away matches like they normally do, but the entire season is going to take place at the Greenbrier Resort in West Virginia. What do we think about that, LD?
I think it's really huge and so exciting for the players, most of them that are based here in the United States, but also for World Team Tennis. They've gone ahead to announce they're going to play from July 12th through the beginning of August. And let's not forget, the pro tours are not starting back up until the earliest, the very beginning of August. So this gives a huge opportunity for players to go and start competing. And the WTT has said they've got such a strong field. They have top 10 players asking to play. These players want something to do. They want to have something to shoot for. They want to be able to get out there, make some money, get back to doing what they love. I think World Team Tennis, if everything goes through, remember, West Virginia has only had a very small number of cases. So the WTT feels very comfortable with hosting it there. They'll all be sequestered in the hotel and the courts there. I think it's going to be hugely successful with both the reaction and the turnout from the players.
I've played at this facility. I've been to an event at the Greenbrier. It's tailor-made for this type of sequestered event, the way you're describing it, Aldine. Lots of practice courts. They have a sunken stadium. If they do have the opportunity to bring fans in, they'll be able to bring them in and space them out if they need to. And every player that is based in the United States, and maybe even some from overseas, would want to get matches if they're going to restart August 3. If we are going to start in Washington, D.C. at the City Open, my goodness, you want to play matches. Every player wants to get at least one or two matches or tournaments in before the Australian Open after a much smaller time off. So this will be massive for World Team Tennis. They
have said that they plan to have fans. They plan to have 20% capacity, about 500 fans at each one of these sessions. And to your point, Jim, about D.C. being the first event after, it's only about a 3.5-hour drive from Greenbrier to D.C. if people want to play there.